I can't figure out how to style this hair, y'all, so we're just gonna have to go with it. Hi, it's me, Yeonni. Welcome back to my channel. Where did the year go? Where has the year gone? I have a whole like chit chat video on my thoughts and feelings about my YouTube hiatus and how freaking difficult this year has been for me. That's coming up, but it is tradition on my channel that at the end of each academic year of my PhD program, if this is your first time on my channel, I am a psychology PhD student at Columbia. I do a quick like recap video of like roses and thorns, highlights and lowlights. I just finished year 3 of my PhD program, so I wanted to continue on the tradition and film this video, our recap of the 3rd year of my PhD program. So let's get straight into it. So, 3rd year of my PhD program was a huge milestone year. Just to list some of the milestones that I went through this year, I had my own case conference. I went to the Asian American Psychological Association conference, which was a big deal. I took and passed my qualifying exams. We call them comps in our program. I finished all of my core classes. So I forgot to mention that I also started on my dissertation proposal writing process. I'm sick right now, sorry. But yes, that was also huge that I started doing that. On draft 4, everyone. Draft 4. Yeah, I survived all of those things. Each of those have so many sub-points on all of the things that I went through. I just feel really proud that I completed all of those things this past year. Let's talk about the highlights of this last year. So I just listed off a bunch of my milestones, right? I feel really proud of each and every one of those milestones. There was so much persistence, preparation, so much crying, honestly, stress, existential dread and crises that I went through for each of those milestones that I went through. And I feel like my pride is twofold, where I'm proud of like getting through it, right? Like I did it, like check, 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 all really important milestones of my PhD program. I did them. And also I feel proud of myself because I'm very proud of like the product or the output of each of those things. For example, my case conference that I did back in October 2024, I'm really proud of that case conference because I presented on work that I was doing with a client, and it was a really difficult case because this client was just going through a lot and I felt a lot of imposter syndrome. How am I supposed to help this person? And it felt really like powerful to get to present on that work in front of all of my colleagues and the faculty in my program, and it felt like I was like honoring my work with them in a way. So yeah, I'm proud of my persistence and just putting my best work out there to the best of my abilities. The AAPA, Asian American Psychological Association conference, was a highlight for me this last year for sure. It was such an incredible opportunity to get to be amongst other fellow Asian American researchers and clinicians. I really wasn't getting much of that in my program, so I feel really proud of myself for going there, and like, because I didn't have to go to this conference. It was something that was sort of like something extra that I added to my workload, and I could have just participated, but I went and I presented a workshop, led a workshop, and I felt really proud of that as well. Usually when I go to like a major conference, like American Psychological Association conference, there's a sense of like, I always like use the filter to search up like Asian American research that's being done, but something about like everyone being there doing Asian American research and clinical work, I felt very like seen in a way, like I was amongst my fellow people. It felt really exciting and cool to be there. So definitely one of my highlights. Another one of my highlights of this past academic year was actually, I mentioned, right, that I finished all of my coursework this year, and my last class that I took was in this past spring, 2025, where where I learned how to be a supervisor. And that class was really special because not only were we like getting readings on how to be a supervisor, you know, that's pretty typical in courses, but we got to actually be matched up with supervisees. So I got to be a clinical supervisor to a master's student, a master's in mental health counseling student who was actively seeing clients. First of all, it was just a really cool experience to get to support like a newer clinician doing clinical work for the first time. I was really scared at first, being like, oh my God, how am I gonna help this person? But as we started working together, it was really cool to realize like, oh, I am competent. Like I know what I'm talking about. So it was so cool being able to feel a sense of competence, self-efficacy, and confidence in being able to support her in her clinical work with her clients. And this was even more of a highlight and more important for me because my supervisee was a Korean American female therapist in training. And I don't know, I felt sort of like a full circle moment to get to be her supervisor because I had a wonderful Korean American female supervisor the year prior, and she was really like containing for me at a time that was really difficult for me to exist as like a human being. And she modeled such a like compassionate and direct and firm and empathetic supervisory relationship with me, where she treated me as a human being first and then as a trainee. So this year I got to take what I learned from my own supervisor and use that with my own Korean American female supervisee. And it just felt so meaningful and rewarding to get to have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, being able to be a clinical supervisor, I see this as a part of my like professional identity moving forward. It was so cool to get to like geek out about like techniques and interventions and conceptualizing her clients through like the CBT lens or the DBT lens. It was really cool getting to do that together. So definitely a highlight of my third year of the PhD program. Now let's get into the lowlights. So for the sake of balance, I always like to present that nothing is ever perfect. Yeah, my year was amazing. I learned a lot. And also a lot of those lessons came from challenges and disappointments and frustrations. For the sake of brevity, again, I'll pick three. One, I felt a lot of burnout this year. Being in my third year of the PhD program, not only burnout when it comes to just all of the role switching and multitasking, I would say this last year that burnout was exacerbated by just the world. Being a Columbia student in 2025 under this administration is really challenging. My school is in the news all the time. There are police officers and cops on campus all the time. I have very strong feelings about our school and like honestly a lot of feelings of shame about being associated with Columbia at this time. And it's such a mindfuck to be working so hard for a degree from an institution that I don't really respect. So I won't get too much more into it than that, but a lot of like existential, like what is all of this for, was a major like soul dissonance inducing challenge this last year. Another challenge slash low light this past year had to do with disappointment about my experience in the program. I would say I'm not disappointed fully in the program overall, but these are some disappointments that I've had. One was I haven't been able to do much Asian American focused research in my PhD program as much as I had hoped. The only way I got to do it was through that external conference that I attended, and also it seems like through my dissertation. I'd hoped that through my lab or through other ways working with other faculty, I would be able to do more Asian American research, but just the reality of the workload that I've had to deal with, and it's just other things that I don't really need to mention, it's been nearly impossible. So I'm honoring that and pivoting by focusing on Asian American mental health research for my dissertation because I get to do that. That's my research. and sort of this acceptance that I will be doing more of that most likely after I have my degree. If I think about it that way in a more long-term lens, it makes me feel better because, you know, technically my career hasn't even started, right? I haven't even got my PhD yet, so it's okay that I haven't had the experience of engaging and diving into this research that I've wanted to do yet, because I will. Not to say it hasn't been disappointing, it definitely has been. Another realm of disappointment this last year was, so part of our PhD program, we go through an externship match process. Basically, we apply for, interview for, and get matched up with clinical placements in the city. So hospitals, schools, outpatient clinics, inpatient hospitals. I was very lucky last year where I got my first offer from my first site, like where I wanted to go, which is where I'm right now. So this year, I guess I felt, I wouldn't say it's hubris, like I work really hard, so I had an appropriate level of confidence in my abilities to be able to get offers from my top sites. And that was also supported by the fact that I had interviews from really difficult sites that didn't give out that many interviews. And I was able to secure those interview spots. So I felt really proud of myself. I prepared so hard for those interviews. And even during and after the interviews, I felt really like confident about those interviews. I assessed that I felt connected to the interviewer, that I was able to ask all questions effectively. Yeah, so I thought things were gonna go smoothly again. And lo and behold, it didn't. I did not receive a single offer from my top sites, the ones that I interviewed with and felt so connected with. I did end up getting matched up to a site that I am very excited to go to. I'll start working there. Onboarding starts in August and I'll start in September. It's a hospital I'm really excited to work in. But I was just so surprised and yeah, disappointed with just how I did not receive a single offer from these top sites. And that's the disappointing and difficult things about like putting yourself out there through these applications. You just don't know what to expect. And so you have to pivot again, which is what I did. I was like, you know what, at least I matched somewhere. This place is really exciting and I'm gonna get great training from here. So I'm at a point of like acceptance and excitement about the site I'll be going to. But once again, I don't want to invalidate my past self and all the crying that I did when I was going through it all back in like February and March. That was tough. That was really tough. So yeah, that is a pretty succinct, hopefully. I tend to ramble a lot in these videos because I get excited to share. Hopefully that was a pretty succinct summary of like my milestones, highlights, and lowlights and challenges of the third year of my psychology PhD program. I want to end this video with some shout outs because why not? My experience in this PhD program would not be the same if I didn't have my wonderful colleagues and friends. What a blessing it is to get to learn, grow, and train with some of these beautiful and brilliant people who I get to call my colleagues and also my closest friends. It is such a blessing. I do not take them for granted. I do not take this for granted whatsoever. Yeah, so shout out to y'all. Next, I want to shout out my brother. So, none of you probably know this because I don't think I ever mentioned this, but I have a younger brother who just graduated with his master's in clinical psychology from Columbia. He just graduated this semester and I am so proud of him. It was so wonderful having a family member with me, not only in New York, because you know he's close by, it's like come over for dinner, let's go grab dinner together, so easy, but also going to the same school together was so cool. We took a class together. It was just such a wonderful experience, and with our age gap we never had the opportunity to go to the same school before, so going to Columbia together, that was quite the experience. So shout out to you, bro. I'm so proud of you. Next shout out will go to my partner. He has been holding down the fort. What I mean is feeding me, cooking for me on nights when I am overwhelmed with work, exhausted. During my qualifying exams, he would like pack lunch for me and my friends when we were studying together. He has just been holding down the fort, holding down my sanity through the gentle love that he gives to me. So shout out to you. You know who you are. And I guess last but not least, this feels like an acceptance speech of sorts that none of these people are probably going to watch. But, you know, shout out to my cats. My God. My little creatures. It's so funny. I say cats and Chai looks right at me because he knows I'm talking about him. He's like, me, Mom? Me? Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Look, he's coming. He's coming. Shout out to these boys. Oh, okay. No. Just 2 seconds. 2 seconds, buddy. It has been such a life-changing experience being able to be a cat mom. And my boys turned 7 years old this year, which is so wild. I remember when I met them when they were 3 months old. And now they're 7 years old, and they have been through, can you pretend to be happy right now? They have been with me through so many of the highlights and lowlights of my life, and just, they fill my heart with so much joy. Shout out to my boys for being my consistent sources of joy and happiness. Truly, I wonder if they know that. I hope they know that. Chai, do you know? Mommy loves you? Do you know Mommy loves you? Ow, ow, ow. Oh, the sun is shining in. Ooh, do you see that? Whoa, it's blinding me. Okay, I'm gonna have to go like this just so the light isn't blinding me. But yeah, that's it for my summary recap of the 3rd year of my psychology PhD program. That has been a wild one. I am tired. I am tired. And you know what's funny? I make it sound like, oh, I'm done until September. It's not true. Yes, try, right? It's not true because I am in my summer semester right now. I am still working at clinics, seeing patients actively. I am in summer classes. I am TAing. I am doing research. So if you think about it, is it really summer? Doesn't feel like it. But honestly, it is such a privilege to have to stress and worry about being in a PhD program at Columbia. And I really do not take this experience for granted. So yeah, if you watched this far, thank you so much for being here and catching up with me. What a year it's been. Now I enter into my 4th year of the PhD program. And then after that, I have 1 more year left, which is wild. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if you want to chat or if you have any questions about anything. I hope you're taking care of yourselves emotionally, physically, mentally, in all of those very important ways. I will try my best to do so as well. And I will see you in the very next video. Bye!